What up, everybody? Live Reality Games Podcast coming at you. Daniel Wall, Steven Stewart, and we are here, Steven, to recap Survivor 48, episodes 4 and 5. And it's on me. We fell behind a week because spring break and kids and just everything.
It's a good excuse.
Life was lifing last week, but here we are, a lot to cover. Or maybe a lot to cover. I don't know. We'll get into it.
We had two vote outs.
We did, and they were kind of unexpected vote outs. So there's a lot to dig into. So let's go right to it. Obviously, looking at episode 4 quickly. You have Vulu. Cedric's trying to explain, how he's struggling, how he can't fathom the fact that he's wet, he's hungry, he's tired, but yet he somehow seems to vote everybody on the planet out. Like every week, it's a new person.
I mean, I think Cedric's going for I don't know what the hat trick version of Survivor, but having voted almost every single person of a season out. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to vote out Thomas, but he's getting there. He's 4 for 5.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Is that a scary thing? Do you think the players are going to start recognizing that? Because obviously
Say has.
Right, but Say would have to explain it to people for them to understand. And
I don't think other players are going to know it unless, as we get to the season, it becomes more and more apparent, boy, Cedric's the kiss of death to an ally.
Right. You see Mary, they're talking about how in order to move further, they got to work together. But I asked, can Mary and Say and Cedric even work together at this point, or is the bridges so far burned it's unrepairable?
I think the best thing that happened for this trio was a swap to get them apart so they aren't being forced to target each other. Now, merge, we'll see how it goes, but I think a swap was a gift to making this be a potential.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if that didn't happen, how their dynamic would be, because Cedric's voted for everybody. He's given everybody his word. Mary, on the other hand, has been on the bottom and thinking that she's going to be eliminated every single week. And then Say is, 1 minute she's the vote, the next minute she's not. Then she's wanting to have the control and the power. And then now she swaps and she's pissing everybody off. So it's where does Say fall in this? But you're right.
Is she our merge boot, you think?
I think so.
Or is it Charity?
So it would make sense to me if it was Charity, just because they're making her, well, they're starting to make her be a villain, to me, I see Charity as this villain. I don't think she's done anything villainous. I just think that people are making her out to be this villain. Mm-hmm. And whether that's the case or not, I don't know. But I would like to see, if she's a villain, all right, cool. Let me see that come to play, and then let's, get Say out. But I think as far as entertainment value, I think Say is probably a better choice to keep in the game than Charity, because I don't see a whole lot, at least from gameplay, from Charity. But there is a tribe switch. They have new Loggy with David, Charity, Eva, Star, Mary. New Siva with Chrissy, Mitch, Cedric, Say, Bianca. And new Vulu with Joe, Shaheen, Thomas, Camilla, and Kyle. In episode 4, you see that, Joe, Shaheen, and Thomas are pretty excited about this swap, because they're they're together. They're then in the majority, and they feel like they're cruising. Thomas at this point has a steal a vote. He's feeling good about life, and Joe and Shaheen should too, because they've been nothing but in control and on top of the votes and in the right spot. From jump.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
How do you like your swaps? Pure random, or kind of pre-made, where you're going to force a certain number of each tribe onto each new swap tribe?
I so um this past season of Survivor Angelica,
Mhm.
it was a random swap. You reached in, you grabbed a buff, whatever color you got, you got. I was on the minority, but I like that better than it being someone saying, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, because like I feel like I controlled where I went. If I'm going to blame somebody, I can only blame myself for what I chose.
I
However,
guess I guess like I really thought they were going to do two red or two of the two untouched tribes of one green person, right?
yeah.
I really thought it'd be a 2-2-1 split across all three tribes. They would seed it to be that way,
Mhm.
um, which so I was very curious. Like, oh, it is just random.
And obviously when you look at those three tribes, you're looking at, Mary, who gets moved, and now she's with Eva, Star, Charity, and David. And I think Mary, at this
Mhm,
point, I look and I'm like, man, she benefited the best. I think
mhm,
her getting away from Cedric and Say was the best thing that she could do. Unfortunately, Cedric and Say get moved to the same tribe together, with Chrissy, Mitch, and Bianca.
yep,
um and as we see, some new relationships and start forming, you get in Loggy, you get Eva and David, um and they're kind of bonded, and I think
mhm.
looking at Eva's relationship with Joe's a big strong dude. Like, it kind of made sense for Eva to gravitate towards David, big strong dude. And she tells, Charity at this point, because David and Charity are linked together. She tells Charity, "Hey, Star has this advantage that she can't figure out. So just letting y'all know." Um, when you look at Eva prior to episode 5, so kind of disassociate episode 5 from what we're talking about now.
Mhm.
When you look at her, I see her being villainous, but not intentionally trying to be villainous. I honestly think her intentions are very, like, docile. She just doesn't understand these things that she's doing can come off as villainous. Like, she tells
Well,
everybody about Star. Okay, well, like, did you mean to tell everybody about Star? Are you still bitter about Star and having that out, earlier, in episode 2? So I don't know.
is busting someone from your former tribe villainous? Is
Is
throwing
it?
someone from your former tribe because, like, I think back to Cambodia and Kelly Whitworth swaps in the tribe with I think Terry, and she's like, "Get under the bus, Terry! Get under the bus!" Right? She's throwing at him as hard as possible in anticipation of a vote, and of course, Terry has to leave, and it doesn't happen. But I mean, I think you can argue Kelly was a bit of a hero that season, not the
Yeah,
villain. So,
true. I mean, you could look at it that way. I just think, the first chance you get, like, you're not trying to understand the players, you're trying to throw someone under the bus. And, like, is that the information that you give out to gain, like, trust in people? I don't know. Maybe that's what her thought process was. Well, I need to get in with somebody, so let
mhm,
me tell them something that they don't know.
mhm.
But Say, despite what we would think, Say says she loves the camp, but is stuck with Cedric. Bianca is the only one from her original tribe on the new tribe, and Bianca doesn't have a vote in episode 4. She needs to try to find a crack, and she does. She finds one between Say and Cedric. Let me ask you this, Steven. Say and Cedric, what is their deal? Like, are they like brother and sister and they love each other, but they're gonna fight all the time? Or are they getting to a point where they just like, I'm just gonna just
I
be
I think
civil because we're in the same tribe, but when it comes time to get rid of this person, they are gone?
I think come merge they go separate ways.
I think they have to, or they might be on the outs.
And I
However,
think it's going to be like an inadvertently great move is that people are like, well, yeah, there's this original three, but they all hate each other. So we're not worried about it.
um, episode 4 goes on, like, Vulu, the new Vulu tribe hates the camp because they've lost everything and they haven't done anything, and it's just a just a crap place to be, according to Thomas. Back at Siva, Cedric wants to work with Mitch, which, looking fast forward to episode 5, this conversation in episode 4 is kind of funny to me because Cedric says, I want to work with Mitch. And, they bond over Cedric having this same stuttering problem as a kid and having to work through it. The same thing that Mitch is going through now. But Kyle and Camilla, even with an idol and an extra vote, they still are walking on eggshells. I think they're trying to figure out, well, what's the next move for them together? Because I think they want to work together and stay together. It's just, how do they maneuver where they're currently at with guys like Thomas, Shaheen, and Joe, who are very close. And it is like walking on eggshells, despite what, extra advantages they have. But for you, Steven, if you are on the minority of a tribe swap, like what are you trying to do?
Do I have advantages or do I not? Right. That's a starting decision. If I have advantages, I'm kind of looking like, all right, what's my best avenue to use these and try to force the issue? If I literally am in a 2-3 minority, I am sucking up and playing dead. I'm trying to do whatever I can to make them say, like, hey, Steven can be a future problem. I haven't done a good job of that in the past.
Do you think it's as simple as you go to them and you say, hey, you tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. I'll be the good soldier for all of you. Just, I want to stay in this game. Tell me what I do. Or do you really try to like find an interweaving crack and like work your way through it and get in the middle of this? And is there enough time?
It depends on like what the group dynamic is. Like, I'm not gonna like raise a white flag immediately, but like, you talk, get the know, so like, hey, are there options available? Like, what's going on here? And then like, if there's like, nope, it's the 3 of us, we're set. You're like, okay then. Wow. And then maybe I threaten like, I think I'll play the shot in the dark and kind of make them feel like, well, let's try to blindside the other person who's not playing their shot, perhaps.
Yeah. It really depends, I guess, on who it is. But that, to me, I feel like that's a tough scenario for Kyle and Camilla because they're going into 3 really like strong guys that are really, they're tight. Like they come in and they're very much aware of the situation and what they need to do. But I think Camilla and Kyle, all right, so they decide they end up, so,
I mean, it almost makes you feel like the best answer when you're in a 3-2 situation and you're in the majority is to flip, because then you have a better sense of advantages aren't going to be used against you, right? The challenge when you're in this obvious 3 versus 2 is like, they're going to throw everything at the wall, right? But if you are the flipping, your allies likely aren't. Now, you're flipping, you're losing allies. There's a lot of costs to that, but like, it just feels with Modern Survivor, you're merging at 13. It. It's like you have a set deadline versus Survivor Angelica and Survivor Luton. You don't know when the merge is. You don't know what you're playing to, and that changes everything because you're like, well, I can't just like go for this moment. I have to like give myself as much wiggle room as possible because if I make a Hail Mary move here and we're merging at 10, not 11, I'm doomed.
Well, and here's the thing, like I found myself in a position where in Survivor Angelica where we did a tribe swap and then we merged, and then guess what? We got split up after the merge. And it's like, well, now like the whole game is just is way different than what I had pictured prior, like in the original tribe swap. But you look and you see Eva, she's partnering herself up with the stronger guys. I don't know if she's just looking for shields or what she's trying to do. Cedric wants to work with Mitch. Say feels happy with the exception of Cedric with the new tribe she's on. So they all go to immunity challenge, and Loggy wins it. I mean, basically they had to remove sandbags from a platform, roll this big wooden block, hop on the block and grab some bags, and then they had to throw sandbags through a block frame and eventually build a puzzle. And the winner, Loggy, and then Siva and Vulu ends up going to tribal, which I think is funny because Vulu was like, "Oh, we're gonna win this,"
and Vulu looks stacked. I mean, Vulu said, "We're gonna win this." I'm like, "You are gonna win this."
Yeah. Solid assessment. I mean, I don't know who said that. Was that I can't remember who said it, but whoever it was very like matter of fact, like
is it Kyle? I don't know.
But so they go back. Now Vulu knows that they're going to tribal, and they've got to figure out, all right, well, what are we going to do? So Kyle and Camilla this whole time have been creating this wedge between themselves, superficially. They've been telling everyone that they haven't worked with each other and don't know a lot about each other's game, and they're throwing each other under the bus in hopes that all the votes will be stacked on one or the other. Camilla has an extra vote that she could play, and Kyle, I think at this point, has an idol. And so hopefully what happens, and this was their logic, is that they stack the votes on Kyle. Kyle plays his idol. Them two vote whoever they choose to vote, and that person goes home. As the episode's going through, Steven, are you thinking that this plan is going to work? Or when you look at if you look at Thomas, Shaheen, and Joe, you're like, nah, these guys aren't going to go for that.
In terms of they're just going to put all three of their votes on one person and pray.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the simpler strategy is the best strategy, and that is like, hey, we've been in an alliance. Let's prove the alliance. Let's just vote one of them out and then win again. I mean, I can't blame them on that. I think it really comes down to where, like, you don't know the ammunition on the other side. They certainly knew that Camila had a journey, but idol's always just a speculative question. I know everyone's like, I never thought you had an idol. And it's just like, you just never, how can you know? Yeah. I think it really comes down to, and the theme of these episodes is, when do you tell information? When do you withhold information? Right? Because
that's the tough part.
Because it ends up Thomas has the answer. Thomas has a steal vote, and that solves all your problems. But like, he didn't tell anyone that, which like you can't blame him. But this would have been the perfect time to use it. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, and so let's think through this though. If he's going to tell somebody, he's going to tell Bianca, who is no help to him at this particular moment.
No, he's going to tell his alliance at this round, say, hey, I'm going to come clean. I do have something. I have a steal vote, and I think this is the time we should use this together.
He steals one of their votes, and it works. It works. The extra vote that Camilla has, she doesn't even end up playing that, right?
No, so she gives the Kyle who plays it.
Okay.
And so you technically have a 3-3 with 3 votes against Kyle that's nulled.
Gotcha.
And they're doing that in case it's 3 votes Camila, 3 votes Thomas. It pushes them to a revote, and that extra vote, I assume, will carry over to the next round. And therefore, you have a tie again, and either they relent and Thomas goes home, or Joe and Shaheen draw rocks.
Wow, that is, look at it, see the past. You're looking at like unprecedented things that almost happened on back-to-back episodes. That's crazy. And that's I think the beauty of the game is that 48 seasons later, like, you can still get these situations where maybe you haven't even thought of, or how do they work? Like, what's the scenario like when this happens? And craziness. But Thomas ends up going home.
I kind of want to say one more thing. It's just like, extra votes, block of votes, steal votes are really hard to use when there's 12, 11, 10 people, unless you have, there's such tight numbers.
Right.
But it's hard when you have 3 tribes for that to happen. But boy, a swap tribe to a tribe of 5, and you have a steal a vote. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. And not that where everyone sits, But Thomas knew that Camilla went on a journey and she could possibly have something, which is why I don't understand why he wouldn't have
Yeah,
thought to play
because
it.
either she has no vote or she has something.
Right. And so, I think I would have just played it just to be safe. But I think he was just looking more long term as like, how can I use this to build my story? Because, I don't
And
know in this situation if he uses his steal a vote, if that does that do anything for his story, or is that just he did a
uh,
solid for the team?
I think you need to get some merge before you care about story. And
Right.
to be fair, at merge, we've always had it's been consistent. There's a split tribe tribal council where the merge tribe will be divided to half, and there will be two groups voting. That seems to be a constant, and the steal vote could be overpowered there. So there is a good place for these in the future. Yeah,
Well, that's tough way for Thomas to go out. I thought,
sucks.
based on how he was carrying himself, how he was playing, what he was saying, having the advantage, I thought he had a good shot to do some damage, and apparently everyone else thought that too. So they said, you know what, we got to get this guy out of here. You know, we get into episode 5. Kyle is explaining to Joe what happened, and Joe looks like he's asleep. I don't know if you like looked at Joe. Joe looked like he was falling asleep. I don't know if
I
Kyle had
mean,
just been rambling at this point.
who knows what time they're getting back? Like 1 a.m. Like it's always pitch black. You know it's late. Everyone's exhausted mentally and physically.
Yeah. Joe's just like, you know what? It's dark out here. They have the, night vision cameras. Maybe he thought they couldn't see him sleeping, but he was sleeping. um, Camilla admits, she's here to win and she's playing hard. And she admits that in a confessional to just us. But I agree. I think if you're going to be in that tribe with those 3 guys, like you got to come ready to play. And then she knows like what Kyle has too. And so like at any point, those 4 guys could have turned on her quickly. So now I think she's trying to figure out, well, how can I have the control? And I feel like now she has a little bit of control over Kyle, and now Shaheen and Joe are sitting there looking like, oh, well, what am I going to do if this continues? Because I'm going to have to either pull one of them to us or I'm going to have to go to them because I don't think they're going to leave each other. But it's an interesting scenario. It sets up a reward challenge. Say and Charity are sitting out. It's basically a sandbag throw to a target.
Say's feeling pretty tired.
Yeah, she's very tired, and she needed this. She earned this sit out.
Especially when you compare the reward to the immunity. The immunity challenge is far more taxing than anything the reward threw at people.
Right. And I just like if you're going out to Survivor and you're tired, like you can miss me with that, Steven, because like you should expect to be tired.
I mean, I feel like the way they play Survivor, you're gonna laugh, is like how Rome played last season. Where not like you should play.
Put me at the end. I'll do the puzzle.
But you grab it, you do everything. You basically get every experience you can in the process, hopefully without irritating your tribe like crazy in the process, but like you put yourself in there, you do all the things. Like that's how I want to play Survivor, so I can say, hey, there's nothing I didn't have a chance to touch or do or play while I was in the game.
Very true. And I think and Rome might have said this, but I don't think he regrets anything that he did for that reason. Like, I think he was like, I'm going to do everything that I can possibly do.
I mean, sorry, Rome has introspection?
Does he? No. I would hope that he has reflected over this past year and he's like, I went out doing what I set out to do, which was everything. I wanted to do everything. So this is the first time though that we get the sanctuary where good things happen. And once again, it's nothing special at the sanctuary. They
Is
enjoy
the sanctuary growing on you at all? Are you liking the sanctuary more?
I hate it even more. more and more. And there was no idol, no advantage, nothing was found at the sanctuary at this trip. and so it made it even more uneventful. Like
But
I don't
the milk,
the milk.
the whole milk, that's where the advantage is.
That's the story. David gets to drink his milk. He's been missing his milk, chocolate milk, goat's milk,
Because he
whole
can't do
milk.
water. Water's pretty
Yep.
terrible.
It's this guy. Like we gotta do something with David. But so they go to the sanctuary, they get some, and Vulu gets a small reward because they finished second. But
And that looks actually pretty substantial. I was thinking like, here's 4 pastries, enjoy. And that's like, you got like a
nice little spread of tasty treats. I think. See, give me that. Like, give me a big piece of bread and say, hey, you guys can chop this up however you want. Like,
give me a baguette, I'll be happy.
Right. I don't need to go and have like this lavish, air quotes, lavish meal at the sanctuary. But
I mean, would it have been more fun if it was like, now steal a member from the other tribe to come join you or something like that? Like, I don't know.
So yeah, like didn't last season they do something where it was just like it's like a meet and greet almost. They just got to talk to each other from the previous
the season
tribe.
where whichever number where Yam Yam won, it was like Carolyn and 2 guys went, and the guys broed out, and Carolyn's like, "Yep, not working with you all." It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think something like that allows you to start building some connections prior to the merge and go, all right, well, it kind of puts like a good edit in there where you can go, all right, well, what's going to happen with these two if they get to merge, or this group of people. But we didn't get any of that. We just got David drinking a shit ton of milk and feeling great about life. The one little nugget that we did get is Eva says that she thinks Charity comes off fake and doesn't trust her. I go back to what I said about Eva earlier. Eva, to me, is kind of villainous. Like, where does this come from?
This is why I think Charity is going out soon merge. I think they're kind of building up kind of this like negative viewpoint, so us the viewers aren't sad or like cheering for Charity when she goes, which kind of feel bad. I don't know. I wouldn't say this is character assassination, but it's like, oof.
I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it, and hence my tagline tonight is Mary greater than Eva. And that's true. that is true. We talked about Sue and who's my Sue replacement. Right now, it's Mary. Mary is there, and she might be out next week. But
all right. So, what's your favorite Mary quote from these 2 episodes?
Oh Lord, if you ask me to remember something, come on, Steven. I don't remember.
I think mine was, I can't remember the exact words, but Mary's talking about David. She's like, David can be my brother, or something like that. David can be my person. Because in response to the Eva David thing, I think that made me laugh.
That's funny. But yeah, so I enjoy. So see, that's the witty stuff that Mary brings to the table. Like it's that those quick one-liners, and you don't think it's funny until after you replay it again. You're like, oh, that was funny. But yeah, I think that I may be the only one with this opinion. I think all this stuff about Eva is great, but I think she's villainous. And I think it's going to show quickly. And I think I'm here for it. And it is interesting because we get to the immunity challenge and it comes down to, basically Eva maneuvering this ball maze, table puzzle, and she's struggling. She's got a lot of pressure. She's very anxious. She's like in tears. And the whole time in the background, you see her guy, Joe, just like saying things
very intensely.
Yeah, very intensely looking at her, like saying, hey, you got this, kid. And like, I don't know if he was saying like kid and let's go girl or like things like that, not to be so like obvious about it. But to me, like, wouldn't it have been noticeable that he's staring at the other team saying these things?
Well, I mean, at this point, like, I don't remember hearing himself. I remember just his piercing stare at the camera, which
Yeah.
you assume is him looking at Eva.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way they framed it though makes it look like he's
Mhm.
more worried about what Eva's doing than his own tribe.
I mean, one thing I really appreciate about how we've been seeing challenges is they really force all the players to do something. It's
Yeah.
not like put one person in the hero role and like let's all watch them do it. It's like no, everyone needs to do it. Everyone's participating. Like you all have to like show up and like participate. I have been enjoying that.
Yeah, I don't like it, and I don't think it's fair when people have to sit out. And the one thing the reason being is because Survivor, outside of the opportunity to win $1 million, it is an experience of a
Yeah,
lifetime. And like, I don't want anybody's experience to be taken away from them because they're winning and doing what they're supposed to do, you know? Like
and
it
I'm
puts them
glad.
at,
And they've changed the rules so like you can't sit out multiple episodes in a row. It's like no, like literally back challenges. You have to you can't sit out both. I've been happy about that too.
yeah. And it just kind of forces, I mean, it really makes you think about who you're sitting out as opposed to just going, oh, you can sit out this one. Oh, same person. Like,
Were you surprised that Cedric was sat out for
no, what is every challenge
the
he's been
Orange
in,
Tribe?
every challenge he's been in, he's been terrible.
I mean, I guess I just thought like I saw there's a lot of strength portion in that beginning part of the challenge. And I was like, I feel like you might need him like to drag that treasure chest up, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, they had to dig and they had to, go under the log. They had to do the
Hmm.
table maze, and like those are just things that I wouldn't trust old Ced for because
What
his
would you trust Cedric for? Voting you out?
that's about it. Like to not have a clue where his vote is going from day to day. No, I just think that they look at certain challenges and they go, well, this is the one area where it's going to come down to this. And maybe Cedric was like, just go ahead and sit me out this one so I don't have to sit out anymore. Or maybe they're like, look, man, you're not good in the water.
Yeah,
Like, you don't need to be in the water. Or he might
yeah,
have said, hey, I don't do the water. Like, don't put me in it.
yeah. Because that tribe
Um,
was Mitch towing the boat, and everyone else kind of like on there for a ride.
Mitch, Say, Bianca, and Chrissy. That's that was your tribe doing the boat pull. I mean, bless their heart. But Vula wins immunity. Joe, Shaheen, Camilla, and Kyle, they had
Crushing.
this, yeah, they had this moment back at camp prior to the challenge where they swapped stories about parents and like there was this closeness. And one of the things that Survivor likes to do in their edits is make the players human, and having these real life conversations. And they felt as though they were now had a bit of a better bond together. And
Mhm.
it showed. They go out there and they win the challenge. Loggy comes in second, leaving, uh, unfortunately, Chrissy, Mitch, Cedric, Say, and Bianca going to tribal.
So
So go ahead.
one thing that I thought was fascinating that we didn't hear about is Mitch has a block of votes,
Hmm.
right? This could have been a very open shut round if Mitch is like, I'm using a block of vote. It doesn't really matter what's happening.
And
But
but is the only one that knows he has a block of vote at this point is Chrissy because
mhm.
they were on the same tribe to start.
Yeah. But
And
it's like not
so,
even mentioned at all in the episode, I think, that he has this and can use it. It's like not even worried about.
all right, so you know, let's just talk through this first. Okay, so Eva has a breakdown. All right. Joe comes over and consoles her. And everybody is okay with it. It was a very touching moment. Like I said, like this was a real human,
Mhm.
real life situation happening in a game scenario. And it's almost like they paused the game for this to play out, which is fine. Like I'm
Mhm.
totally okay with that. Um, Eva has her breakdown. Joe consoles her, but then Eva goes on to like share her story. And to me, and I hate to say this, but I believe that this was people now looking at Eva going, she cannot be in the final three, and neither can Joe.
At the very least, you're going to separate the two.
Yes. And I think Joe, as much as like I don't think he would have done it any differently if the situation arose again, I do feel as though after the hugs and stuff were over, I think Joe would have liked for her not to have gone on her storytelling session.
Kind of had
And
to. I mean, I think like at that point, like she's had this episode, and everyone's probably like, "What's happening? Like, what? Like, why is this a thing?" And so
yeah,
I do agree. Like, she like it was a natural word for this to say, "Hey, here's what's going on." Now, did she need to like say like, and I told Joe because I needed one person I could trust to know about this? Maybe that's not something she could have been as forthright about, but I do agree that this was the point in time for her to say, "Hey, here's what's up."
you have such a big heart, Steven.
You've been like, no.
I would have been like, I would have put my finger over her lips and just been like, shh. No, I'm.
So when I watch your Survivor Angelica season, am I going to be seeing you as a hero or a villain? I'm leaning more towards villain Daniel. Season.
I am. Now that the finale was tonight, and I'm not going to give any spoilers.
Yeah,
but,
no spoilers for people like me who suck and haven't watched it yet.
I'm neither really. I feel like I was playing a very loyal, heroistic game, but I never really had a chance, or I didn't play fast enough to commit fully to that role.
So I'm hearing is in the future, you now know what to do.
I do, and being my first game, it was there's a lot of different things. We could go on a whole soapbox. If y'all want to know more about Survivor Angelica, we do a recap every Thursday.
Here, Daniel, I'll promise you this: I will watch the season and I will interview you, and we can go through because I do think a first game can be a lot, and you kind of walk out of the first game. It's like, wow, there's a lot of things I could do differently, and I will do differently, and you kind of learn a bit about yourself in terms of what do you do in those intense moments where you have to make a split decision like that.
I think I'm more aggravated is that I played a game like myself, but not the personality that I am typically every single day. I played a loyal game, which is how I would always play.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very timid in the fact of like what I said and who I talked to.
I think that's fine. I mean, trust me, I imploded my first game. You can't. You weren't solving it at a tribal council like I was.
I wanted to, trust me. When I was voted out, I was like, can't believe this is happening.
This is hard. This is day 12, and you think like I think part of the stress of like the live games is how compressed it is. You just don't, especially Angelica's 3 days.
Yeah.
You don't have the breathing time, the time to really kind of have a second to yourself. Like I think you get more of in the CBS show because yes, it's still compressed, but you have at least a day or two per round.
Yeah, and I think for me, I wasn't ready for that in a sense that I knew that in 3 days the game would culminate. But I didn't know like we were only going to have like 20 minutes to talk strategy before the next thing, or like I just you don't know what you don't know, and other people who do know at what rapid speed that you have to play. And I think in my head I thought I was playing at the right speed, but now looking back and reflecting on it, I certainly was not.
And the speed is hard because like you can come into a game guns blazing and really get taken out because everyone's like, boy, you're playing hard. And other times you come in the game and like everyone's already off the race. You're like, oh no, I'm behind. And it's like trying to figure out, like we kind of talked about this early on, especially with Say in the first episode. What's the mood of the tribe? What's the speed of the tribe? And trying to make sure you hit that. And it was rare that she set the tone and people were like, all right, sure, we're in an alliance. Let's do it.
Right. But getting back to Eva, obviously she she gets consoled, she calms down, and it's a very touching story, and it's a very good moment for Survivor. And I'll ask you this one last question about it, and then we'll move on. But when you look at all the Survivor events and seasons and big moments that have happened, where would you rank this particular moment? Because Survivor themselves ranked it as one of the top moments ever, and it's
Jeff
unprecedented.
cried, shed a tear.
He did, and I
He
don't know
didn't
if
shed
I've
a
ever
tear over
seen.
Sue, but he shed a tear over Eva.
It's because Mary's still in the game, baby. Wait till Mary hits the trail. He's
Oh,
gonna be boo-hooing.
I mean, I'm trying. What are the other big moments we've had? I mean, I don't know. It was a very striking, emotional moment. Um, I don't know if I would say like the biggest emotional moment ever, but sure, I'd put it somewhere on a top 10 list, I guess.
I think is it the first time where it was just so like we're getting a glimpse at someone's real life and their struggles on an
It,
everyday basis?
it felt more real than Cerise struggling on a balance beam,
Yes.
but it doesn't come to the level of everyone dying on the ground of a reward challenge and go wrong. So it's somewhere between those for me.
Gotcha. Well, everybody is back at camp. Eva is feeling good. She feels like she is now like got this monkey off her back. Everyone knows her story and she's feeling good about it. And so Star, be in the midst of everyone coming clean with everything, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna come clean too. I have this beware advantage and I can't figure it out.
In
And
a
Eva,
very star fashion too, by the way.
yes. And she was like, you know what? Eva, if you can do it, let's do it. And so Eva's like, yeah, I'll help you, girl. Like, let's water under the bridge earlier. Remember when I told you you needed to sit out and you were going to sit out? Well, forget all that. I'm your friend now. Once again, Eva, villainous, just saying. So she
I'm looking for the re-edit of this season with Eva in a cast of different lights.
so Eva opens it. She's like going through all the words, glisten, blisten,
And it's the same
listen.
letters for each tribe, right?
Yeah,
Because
I think so. It's
it was
just
enlist. It was enlist for the orange tribe. I
it was
don't remember
listen.
what.
It was listen for the other tribe.
Yeah, and then we had silent for this
Silent.
tribe.
Yep. And so she gets it, and something, it's like the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. And Star said, "You know what, Bianca, you opened it. This idol is yours."
Bianca,
Or I'm sorry, Star said, "Eva, this is yours."
wild to me.
So clearly, that's not a move that you would have made.
No, I probably I would have kept it so like it's for the two of us, but like I would have like think
Pumped
like
her,
Camille
pumped her
opened it for
head. You would have
time.
gaslit her like crazy to get that idol back.
Well, it's just like if Eva then said like, no, it's mine, I'm not giving it back, then she just committed political suicide. Um, I here's what I was thinking. Star's been on the outs, and I think everyone's gonna know Star has the beware advantage, and Star's gonna have this kind of target on her come merge because like she maybe hasn't made the inroads she has, and has been a bit of a political outsider. And by the way, she has an idol.
Oh,
But
and by
now
the
Eve
way, if she doesn't open this, she doesn't have a vote.
doesn't. So that was one of the things we don't know for sure what happens at merge with the beware advantage. Does it just magically open? Does you
I don't
magically
know.
get your vote back?
I would hope that it would still be in play. Like if it's 3 different words that open this thing, then that's kind of like 3 different things. It's not like someone who opened
Mhm.
one prior could go, "Oh, it's enlist. Let me see this." Like, and it
Mhm.
opens. No, it's a different word. But um, I just think in this particular scenario, Star is kind of seeing where she's at as far as the pecking order. She's probably with it enough to know, well, if I make merge and I don't have a vote, that's a problem. So I need to figure out a way to submit myself with Eva, who now everyone knows is good with Joe, who is a
Mhm.
strong player and can be a shield. but also David has been affectionate for Eva as well. And so, like, if I'm Star, like, it's almost like I'm giving up an idol to be in a good position with strong players, and I don't.
Not
They are
bad.
they are the shield for me. So I don't know. It's a interesting dynamic that they got, but she ends up doing it, and not necessarily the move you would have made. Probably not the move I would have made either.
I
But
mean, I think
I don't think it's the wrong move. I just don't think it's the move I would have made.
I would not have given it up right there in front of everyone, or I don't know. It was a call. I don't think it's a bad move to say. It's just like it's an idol.
But also, and I didn't think about this until just now, is everybody knows that she has it.
Mhm.
That means that it's an easier blindside for her, especially when I talk about, in my opinion, after what just happened, you can't take her to final three.
Yeah,
But
setting her up
also,
as a target.
right. So, and maybe Star's like, well, my move is to get rid of Eva, and I can put
It's
that
been
on my
12 days coming.
yep.
I gave her
12
that
days.
idol for the reason
See?
so I could blindside her with it, and that's my winning story.
How many people give up their idol to the person and then put them out of the game? Me, Star. That's right.
Todd
Um,
from China, I guess, would be the best
yes,
parallel. And he won the game, so
he
hey.
did. Oh man, because Star, are we talking about Star winning the game? What?
I
What?
mean, who do you think has more winner equity, Sai or Star? Sorry, Say or
I mean,
Star?
based on just the number of confessionals, you got to go with Say, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
I
and
mean, that's the most funny thing. I was watching this episode, like, Say can't go out here. We haven't heard it. We haven't heard enough from her. I think she's gonna go out with a bang.
so let's get to Siva. Obviously, they're going to tribal. They're talking about who to vote out. Christy and Mitch approach Cedric. All right. Christy and Mitch have been together since day one, and they want to vote Say. Bianca isn't sure. And for good reason, she's not sure what the right vote is because she doesn't have a vote. And so she's trying to play a game right now with everyone to make it sound like she has a vote and decide, all right, well, without my vote, how do I make myself safe? And so
Which I like.
yeah, I mean, you have to do that. And so she goes to Cedric and she's like, what's the deal? I'm being told it's Say, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, I don't know. And Bianca is basically pushing for Say, I think. And she's just like, hey, man, are you going to vote her out next week? Are you going to vote her out tomorrow? Are you going to vote her out before the end of the game? Because if you are, and if that's the plan, let's just do it now. Why put off why put off till tomorrow what we can do right now?
I think
And
I think if she just said, "Look, I'm voting Say. I'm voting with Chrissy and Mitch. I'm telling you because I really want to work with you. I want to go deep with you. I want you to be in the loop and in the know. Come with me. Vote with me. Trade up. I have I have connections to the Pink Tribe that we can ride with."
yeah, I don't think she did a good job. I think she just went with the low hanging fruit and was like, I'm just going to tell him I don't have a vote and see what that does. Which, what would you do? Do you feel like telling, like, I think that makes you super vulnerable and that amount of people in a vote. Like, I just don't think that's a smart move, especially when you have more momentum to vote someone else out. You almost, by doing that, you put your name as an option when it wasn't an option for Cedric.
Well, I mean, you get a lot of talk at tribal councils like, well, Bianca's the easy vote. She's the odd one out. We can easy 4-1 her. And like, I just think like, again, this comes back to like when do you share, when do you keep information, right?
Right.
Thomas doesn't share the fact he has the seal vote. Therefore, he's loath to use it, and therefore he goes out. Bianca shares his information. At least the narrative we're being told is it leads to her getting votes from Chrissy and Cedric.
Yeah. And so Bianca tells Cedric, "Hey, I don't have a vote. Here's what we need to do. You got me." And he's like, "Hmm. Hmm." I think he was shocked because clearly he was like, "She must not know who I've been voting for. She must
I
not
mean,
know
I
about
would
me."
just. Well, to be fair, Say has disclosed what has happened. So
And clearly Bianca didn't remember that because she was like, "Yeah, that's the dude I'm gonna trust. Let's go." The guy who doesn't know, who votes for someone different every time. And hey,
yeah, so let's see. Over the span of 5 episodes, Cedric has voted for 6 different people. So he's still 120% batting average, or whatever you want to say, for six different people, 5 episodes, and he didn't even go to tribal council one of them.
and so we get to tribal, and this is where I have lots of questions. All right, despite what was talked about, you know, how, what, who, why, what is Cedric doing when it comes to his vote? Like, Cedric votes Bianca, Mitch votes Say, Chrissy votes Bianca, Say votes Chrissy, and Bianca doesn't have a vote, and Bianca goes home with 2 votes. First
I
thing,
mean, yeah,
why
go
is
ahead.
Mitch the guy that you built this connection with on the stuttering, and you were like, "Hey, I want us to be together," is not included, but yet Chrissy is.
Insurance, perhaps.
Like,
Maybe he's insurance.
that's my question is how does this relationship with Cedric and Chrissy just all of a sudden just come up? Because if you would have told me
We were not
Mitch,
showed something.
if you would have told me Mitch was the one, yes, clearly. And we're back. Yep. But I had some rain here in Florida, and then tech. It is what it is, but they even put you on mute, Steven. I can't. That's like messing with our whole configuration here. I don't know what's going on. But what I was saying is, had Mitch been the one to vote for Bianca and Cedric did too, then I would understand. Okay, yeah, he said they wanted to work together, but like you said, I think something was left out, and I want to know what that something is. How does Cedric and Chrissy now become this team where they're voting together?
Because Chrissy's like a whole little speech prepared at the very end. She's like, there was only 4 votes. You know what that means, Say that means you weren't told something, and then cuts to Cedric and Say's like, once again, Cedric lied to me.
Yep. And I don't know if we see for the next episode, we see a merge. Merge is coming. Do you believe that? Or what do you think we're gonna get?
I've been trained by the past 4 or 5 years Survivor that merge happens at 13. Specifically, you earn the merge starting at 13.
So we're there. We're where we need to be. But looking at Bianca's elimination, if you were to guess based on this last episode, who is going home next?
I do think we're going to see a Charity or a Say merge boot. But however, I mean, likely it's going to be Pink versus Orange. Pink's lost 2 members, so it's going to be a bit of a scramble. So maybe Orange looks to give up one of its own of Charity and say, "Hey, we'll make it easy. We'll let her go."
Yeah, I think when you look at who's left and the tribes themselves, like I think the bottom feeders, so to speak, in Logie,
The not big men, because
yeah,
we're going to see a men's alliance for him.
maybe the brown recluse alliance. Uh in the Logie tribe, you have Eva, Star, David, Charity, Mary. I think Charity, just based on everything we'd see, would be the one. I think Eva's got enough power to push that vote, and I think everyone would be okay with that. In Siva, you've got Chrissy, Mitch, Cedric, and Say, because now Bianca is gone. And I think that would be interesting to see how those panned out. But I think Say now with this move, like she doesn't trust Cedric at all. And I think she would have to win immunity in order to be safe, because I think Mitch is going to, unless Mitch uses a block a vote, which that he's been saving up, but I don't know. We'll see, because he might be pissed too, because he was in the outs on the vote, and him and Cedric were supposed to be close.
I'm sure we'll start next episode with a flashback.
Can't wait.
Cedric grabbing Chrissy saying, "We're doing it," and then or something.
And Chrissy just being like, "Okay, yeah, let's do that."
Chrissy's got game. I don't think she's winning, unfortunately, because even though she's on my draft team, but she is here to play.
I think she is the prototypical, like, 45 to 60-year-old, maybe if you lie about your age, 65.
But she's not running with the mom archetype, like the older woman of this demographic can fall into, where it's like, Chrissy's the tribe mom and we all love her, and if mom puts me out, I'm gonna be so mad because I thought we had something special.
Right. I'm interested now too with the Vulu tribe, like what they do. Joe, Shaheen, Camilla, and Kyle, because it's like 2 and 2, and like I would like to see that too. But anyhow, another good episode, 2 good episodes back-to-back weeks, 2 good tribals. Next week we're staring at a merge, maybe, hopefully. We'll see.
Or at least it will be earned.
It will be earned, definitely. But Steven, anything you want to plug or promote? What's going on in the world?
I am procrastinating things by watching the most recent Backyard Survivor One Well season on YouTube. All 10 episodes are out. It is very well edited. It has an amazing large production team, and it's been a lot of fun. And again, if you enjoy seeing small tribes, there you get some very small tribes voting in the pre-merge of the game. So would recommend.
Nice. Well, for me, just a plug for Survivor Angelica. The season finale aired at 7 p.m. tonight, and the winner, you'll have to tune in and find out, because I'm not going to tell you right here. But
the next season's All-Stars, right?
Yep. And so next year, Survivor Angelica has already completed their casting. They are actually put out something today where they're looking for female casts. I don't know if there was a fall through.
That is a common thread I see in the casting group. Like, if you are female, please apply.
And let me ask you, Steve, like, what can we do? Like, because I've seen this a lot too, as far as like the female demographic is not represented in the live reality games. And I'm not saying that they're not there. It's just a lot of games are looking for females to be a part of it. So on our platforms, what can we do? You're the world problem solver. Like, what do we do here?
I mean, I think it's advertising, word of mouth, and just getting out there that these games exist, just to a larger audience.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to charge everybody with. If you've played a live reality game, or you follow it and you want to play, or you just enjoy watching it, recommend it to someone. If they're like-minded as you, recommend it to everyone. If there's females out there that you know, recommend it to them. It is a crazy game. They're all fun, and it's not something to be afraid of. It's something that's, you're going to meet very good people and lifelong bonds that you'll carry forever. And I guarantee if you play one, you're going to play many. So go ahead, get yourself ready for that. LRG Casting on Instagram. It will tell you all the shows that are applying. So go out and apply. I think the deadline for some of these shows is the 31st. I saw a bunch of them I went through them yesterday on our recap for Survivor Angelica. I'm not going to go through all of them tonight, but there's about, a handful of them that they close out on the 31st. So make sure you're getting that in. Steven, any last thoughts? Anything you want to share with the world before we jump out of here?
Looking forward to seeing the merge and catching up with you about it.
Yes, sir. We'll be back next week. We'll have episode, I think it's episode 6. Man, we're flying in this. We are flying, but y'all watch it and then be on the lookout for us recapping it after it's over on Friday. So for me and Steven, this has been Live Reality Games Survivor 48 recap show. Be good. If you can't be good, be safe. Peace, y'all. See y'all next week.
See you, everyone.